Hello, everybody. I know it's Sunday. It's weird that we're here live on a Sunday. Usually we're here on a Saturday night chilling. I can hear your audio. Oh, wait. That's my. That was
Is
on
that
my
my
end.
audio?
Sorry. No, it was on my end. So you're gonna hear an echo in the background probably. That's awesome. Yeah,
I don't
that's
hear anything.
fantastic. Okay, cool. Yeah, I forgot to mute YouTube because I had that on for the links.
All good. Happens.
Yeah. Anyway, hey John, how's it going? Anyway, we're here. Yeah, normally we're live on Saturday night just chilling, just relaxing, but I've been busy the, the last few weeks. So and so is Katrina. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a, nothing's happened in the world of Star Wars that we're going to be talking about later at all. Like nothing at all. Um,
Hmm.
but my good friend Katrina is here. Katrina Dennis, welcome back.
Yay! I'm so happy to be back. Thank you
Yeah,
for having me back. And you know what? What a fabulous day for us to be broadcasting
I
on
know.
the 40,
Eighth
48th anniversary of the release of A New Hope. So it's a
and the 7th anniversary of Solo.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That one has a special place in my heart. I got to do the press tour for that one, so like maybe my bias is a little skewed. But it was a very special press tour, and like it's
yeah.
one of those very very memorable marketing campaigns. Like I remember the trading cards at Denny's with Therm Scissor Punch and the companion book.
Yep,
What is that? The Last Shot by Daniel
yeah,
Jose Older, which was amazing. Such a
yeah.
good book.
It is.
Yeah. So yeah, Solo. 7 years. 7 years.
Yeah.
8 years. 7 years. And
7 years. Yeah.
7 years on Solo. 48 on Star Wars. And here we are today.
Yeah, and then we are 2 away from Starfighter.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Starring Bruce Starfighter, my new Star
yes,
Wars OC.
Bruce Starfighter. Yes. Remember, he's Ken is going to wear a pink jumpsuit and fly a
Yes.
pink X-wing.
If his name is not Bruce Starfighter, I'm gonna riot.
I mean, Sean Levy should do that.
I
Like,
think I think he should.
yeah, absolutely. Um, Before we get to introductions here, because I am going to have you talk about yourself. What? I know what. Um, have a couple of quick announcements. There's going to be no live show on June 14th, as we will be trooping at Star Wars Night at minor league baseball team in the area, which is pretty cool. We've done that a couple of times now. It's a lot of fun. And then should I tease this, Katrina? Should I tease what we talked about in the one group chat? Should I tease
I
this?
think you should, because that would help it manifest into reality.
Yeah?
So
Yeah. Okay. Um so how many years ago was that? It's been a few years
it's
now.
been a few years now,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
Um we had an RPG show. Little RPG
Hmm.
show. Um that was set during the Old Republic, where it was Katrina and John Byram, Joey McDermott, Greg, Ellie, Kaylin, even Lavender joined us for the one. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and and I ran the game. We did an Old Republic RPG. Well, we're trying to get the band back together.
Hmm.
We're trying to get the band back together to start doing more frequent shows. It's a little tough due to a lot of people's schedules and everything, and I totally understand. But we've started putting the bugs in people's ears about coming together. I know you're up for it. Greg is up for it.
Hmm.
John has said he's up for it. I still need to hear from Joey, Ellie, and Kaylin. Um, Kaylin's running around at Disneyland and Universal a lot, and also doing music stuff.
Hmm.
Ellie's doing card gaming tournament organization and stuff, and then Joey's just Joey. Joey's doing the Joey thing.
Hmm.
Um, but I think we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can
We
make.
we could get like a one shot like every quarter
Yeah,
going around,
yeah, absolutely. Um, I was thinking, um, what if we tried to steal the Star Cruiser again? Like, like we did that one again.
Hmm.
But like wrote it better. I wrote the campaign better for that. I don't know.
Shaw, I
Um,
think it was great.
yeah. And then there was one time when we teased a Law and Order episode.
Ah, I mean, not to start the self promo immediately, but
Yeah,
we could homebrew
we could.
Galactic or Going
Yeah,
Rogue,
yeah,
which are two Star Wars inspired game systems that are now crowdfunding on Kickstarter. So go check them
yeah.
out because I'm gonna be writing for one of them. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, we should definitely do that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
oh, there are
We
lots of fun there.
homebrew that system and everything. I think that would
Mhm,
be tons of fun. I love that
definitely.
idea. So for I've talked way too much during this intro, so I apologize. Um, Joining me is my amazing friend Katrina Dennis. And Katrina, when I say that you are an amazing friend, you truly are an amazing friend. Like seriously, you're great. So yeah. Katrina, tell us all about you. What you're up to, your Star Wars journey, and your favorite Star Wars movie.
Ooh, okay. So let me get that in order. I'm Katrina. I am a writer, producer, performer, etc., and now business owner. I have been raised in a nerdy atmosphere from day one. Like I was born into this world to two incredible nerds, and it's wonderful every year when Star Wars Day comes around, and I can be like, this is one of my foundational personality traits is Star Wars. So yeah, lifelong nerd. I've written for StarWars.com. I am my likeness is a cameo character in Star Trek Online. I am the assistant producer of a documentary series called Looking for Leia, which you can watch online at lookingforleia.com. I am the associate producer of a documentary called Boldly Going, which stars Bruce Horak, who was fan favorite character Hemmer in Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, and the first blind person to play a blind character in Star Trek. He's now raising money to produce a documentary where he interviews folks and paints their portraits as he interviews them, which is really really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've done so many things. I'm the co-host of a great little podcast called Padro Pascal, which we are cooking up a return on this year. Yeah, um, big year for Pedro. So we're working on
What?
trying to get that back. Yeah, and I'm the owner of a brand new nerdy beauty brand called SideQuest Cosmetics, and we're also online at sidequestcosmetics.com. We make beauty and cosmetic products for super nerdy, wonderful people. And we try to create products that are exciting to use for brand new folks to beauty and skincare, as well as seasoned cosplayers and drag queens and people who know makeup really, really well. So our objective is to create collectibles that you can use, that you can take with you in your wallet or in your purse or in your pocket. And our introductory line is the Adventurer's Inventory, which you see right there. We've got 3 flavors of lip balms that are colorless. So if you don't want to have color on your face, these are the lip balms for you. They're fantastic for summer conventions, whether you're at a convention in the desert or on a nerdy cruise or wherever you may be. These guys are there to be part of your inventory, and we're working on a very cool like lip and cheek tint coming up next.
Hmm.
So that'll be releasing later this year in August. They're called Page Turning Tints, and they're based on romantasy book tropes. And yeah, it's been a really fun adventure launching these. We did a pre-launch phase that was super successful, and so I'm really excited about the future of this brand and where it's going. So yeah, I'm a small business owner now, which is so weird to say. But yeah, I do all sorts of fun things. I am the marketing director at Hunters Entertainment, and we're about to launch our own crowdfunding campaign tomorrow for a game called Sin Eater, which is a solo journaling game about the historical practice of sin eating by Annika Sila, and it is a very unique, very immersive and fun game. And if you're like really big in scrapbooking and stuff, I think you would love it. But if you're also just like really involved in like writing and heavy role play, I think this is also going to be a great game for you. So yeah, just doing a million things at once because that's great for my mental health. So
It's always good for your mental health to do a million things
I
at
mean,
once.
the ADHD part of my brain is just like getting all sorts of like serotonin hits every single day, and then like
Yeah.
the non ADHD part is like, when are we going to sleep? But
I totally understand that. That's me in a heartbeat. I mean, you and I have talked about that before, like how
mhm.
we both have ADHD, so it's
Yeah,
yeah.
gotta keep the sparks flying, but like if you then like your body is like, wait, hold on, brain, I can't continue to function like this. So it's about striking a balance,
It,
which I'm
it's
okay
almost
at.
as if we live on overstimulation,
Yeah.
whereas others are like, yeah, okay, let's take a step back. We're like, no, we gotta go.
Oh yeah,
Um,
gotta keep
yeah,
going. And hello to Universal in the
yeah,
chat. I'm doing well. Hello.
universal, yeah. Um, that is awesome though. I love this whole thing. I love this business that you're doing. Like this
Thank
is really cool.
you.
Yeah, we talked about the previous installment a few about a month ago.
Hmm.
Um, and that was great. Like just hearing your
Yeah.
passion for that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, this has sort of been a lifelong thing for me. I did not grow up a makeup girly, but when I was living in New York City in like 2008, which is a very long time ago now, I was working in like Times Square, and I basically moved up and down the block with my jobs because I would get tired of one and then I'd move, or like I worked at Virgin Megastore and then that shut
Wow.
down, and I was like, well, I gotta go somewhere. So I ended up going down the street and turning in my application and resume to Sephora just to
Mhm.
like again specify how long that was, like how long ago that was. I walked into the store and I filled out a paper application, and
Wow.
then they hired me. So that was back when you could do that. And
Yeah.
so while working at Sephora, I think I said this on the last podcast we did about the soft launch of this brand, but the practice back then was to make sure that all of their employees were very deeply trained on the makeup and the skincare and all of that, because this is stuff you put on your face and on your
Yeah.
body. And so we needed to not only know like, oh, what color goes with what skin tone, but also like what products can we recommend for people who have oily skin, who have easy
Yeah.
breakouts. So we had to learn the science behind all of our makeup, and we had intensive training sessions every single week so that we could give people the product that was right for them. And that just kind of like sparked my fascination with makeup and skincare, because there's part of it is art and it's creation and it's
Yeah.
making cool like visual looks on yourself, but
Yeah.
the other part of it is science, and like those are two of my favorite things in the whole wide world. And so learning more about it, I became fascinated with makeup, and yeah, and so there's really not a makeup brand that is just like we are a nerdy makeup and skincare brand out there.
Yeah.
Like there are some that do nerdy lines and things like that. But I wanted to create one that was like, this is for people who go to the Ren Fair, who go to conventions, who like want to bring their nerdiness with them in everyday life. And so that's where Side Quest came from.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean,
Thank
and the
you.
more, yeah, I mean, the more that we can do for the nerd community to
Mhm,
help people be more included in the nerd community is huge. Like what you've done with this, what Ashley's done with her universe,
mhm,
and multiple other people. It's just incredible to see this in the community, and to see the amount of love and support that you're getting, as
mhm.
well. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. I'm so excited. We're doing our first brew this week, so all of our products right now are made to order.
Mhm.
I'm not looking at like working with a manufacturer until close to the end of the year, very early next year. So all of our products are handmade by me. They're made to order, and we do everything. Like I say, it's mainly me, and then my partner gives me moral support. We do everything ourselves. So I'm really excited because next week we're sending out. And by the way, I need your address for this. We're sending out PR mailers that I
Yeah.
have like I've created like all sorts of special little things to put into these mailers, and I'm really excited to see people unbox them and like
Mhm.
experience the product and like enjoy all of the little goodies in them. Because again, everything is about being useful, being something with purpose that you can use in your everyday life. So from the products to the things that are in our PR mailers, that's been the core of my thought process. So
Mhm.
yeah.
And if you think that dudes don't need lip balm, if you're watching this and you think dudes don't need lip balm, you are totally wrong.
You are so wrong. Men, I
Yeah.
beg you to take care of your skin. It is so like men are gifted with like so often like long lashes and beautiful hair, and when they start their, when originally really great skin, and then like they don't use moisturizer or sunscreen or
Oh,
anything, none of this basis stuff that like you really need. And I know, a lot of cons happen in very dry places,
oh
convention
yeah.
centers. No matter where you are, you could be in the middle of the swamp in Florida. You walk into a convention center and it's instantly dry. And then
Oh yeah.
suddenly by the end of the week, like your lips feel all raw and
Mhm.
disgusting. This is the thing. This is the special potion that will stop you from feeling bad. And so yeah, like I implore folks who, especially with this product, like it isn't makeup, so
Yeah.
if you aren't a person who likes makeup but you still want to like take care of yourself, like that's what this is for.
Yeah.
These are items in your inventory to assist you in your everyday life.
Yeah. And I
Mhm.
wasn't like making any jabs or anything. I was just saying
Oh,
like we need to take care of ourselves. Like,
yeah, and men deserve to take care.
hey,
Like
Brennan.
I think hey, what up, page turners? I think everybody deserves to like take
Oh
care of
yeah.
themselves, feel nice in their skin,
Hmm.
like just enjoy life and
Yeah.
and look at yourself and feel good. So
Yeah.
that's what we make these products for.
I know, like my I'll tell you right now, this winter my hands suffered from being just
Oof.
so dry, because
Yeah.
I was also dealing with the public a lot, so I was like washing my hands and sanitizing a lot. So like
Hmm.
it gets so dry after washing and sanitizing and everything, that like I started using hand lotion, and now I'm just like, yeah, no, I mean I can't imagine like my hands without it, really. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're
Um,
they're just like basic core things to take care of
yeah.
yourself, like moisturizer, hand lotion, lip balm,
Yeah.
sunscreen. I beg
Oh
you.
yeah.
It is a giant fiery ball in space. It will affect you.
Especially
It'll get to you.
especially if you're at a like Ren Fair or something like
Yes.
that.
Oh,
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. You definitely need that.
get
Um,
get sunscreen. Like don't even bother. Like it saves you the money afterward that you're going to
yeah,
spend to recover, and then you'll go to the Ren Fair, and your souvenirs will be the wonderful little things you bought, and not this big painful red streak on your back. Like,
or or the gallon of aloe vera that you'll pick up afterwards.
aloe vera, still good to have in your house, though. Real
Absolutely,
great stuff. Great for your
absolutely,
skin.
yeah,
Just, better if you don't waste it all on the Ren Fair burns.
absolutely. Or the beach burns
Or the
if you're.
beach burns. Man,
I
it's rough.
quick side note. I when I was younger, I think we had like this end of the year beach party, like for like seventh grade or eighth grade, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we all got together, and like an idiot, I did not put on sunscreen,
Oh.
and um,
Mm-mm.
yeah, the week that followed that was not pleasant.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep.
I always think about like the age old question of like, oh, how did Obi-Wan age so much over 19 years? And it's like he was in the desert. I'm sure he didn't have any moisturizer. Like, it was probably all left in the Jedi Temple. Like, there's no CVS on Tatooine. And so he just aged awfully. And also he just had like emotional trauma. But like, he lived in the desert, didn't wear moisturizer. You know who did? Luke, the moisture farmer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, also twin sons.
Yeah,
Twin sons will do that to you too.
that'll do. I mean, that'll
Yeah.
do a lot to you. Yeah.
Welcome to the welcome to the Twin Son Cosmetic Podcast.
Don't say that too loud. Mickey
No,
will
no,
come
no,
and get
no.
us. Mickey
Yeah.
will be like, "Juice! Woohoo!
Oh, these guys mentioned Star Wars.
We've
Oh,
trademarked Twin Sons! Woohoo!"
exactly. Well, I guess you and I won't be invited to Disney World anytime soon. Um,
Oh my
oh
goodness.
man. What was I just gonna say? But yeah, check it out. Definitely shop now. Especially these balms are $5 a piece. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I
We
mean,
try to
that's
keep them.
yeah,
Yeah, I try to keep them very fairly priced. Because I just, I am a believer in dupes, which for those or like uninitiative or uninitiated are it's the short form of duplicate, right? But
yep.
like say there's a hairspray I used that was at Sephora, and it was a luxury hairspray, and it was the only thing that made my curls look good. And so it's the only thing I stuck to forever. And my friend was like, "Why are you using that? Trader Joe's makes the same thing. It's a direct dupe, right down to the ingredients, and it's $5.99." And so I'm a huge believer in keeping things priced rationally. And our margins are still great, like it's
Yeah.
still a fair amount of money that we bring in, but there's no reason for my lip balm to cost $30 like certain
No.
people do, like sugar.
Yeah.
Like I want to
Yeah.
keep things accessible. Accessibility is important to me as a business owner. So again, I just
Absolutely.
want something you can pick up and take to Ren Fair.
Yeah. No, I love it.
Mhm.
Or your D&D sessions, or wherever you want to go. Like you said,
Yeah.
conventions.
Oh man, you talk for 4 hours straight, you're gonna need lip balm.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, even just walking around a convention, you get dehydrated, so
Mm-hmm.
you'll need lip balm there.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. Hydrate when you're at conventions. Just hydrate when you're there.
Please bring water. Please take
Yes,
care of yourselves.
exactly. Exactly.
It's me, your mom friend.
It's okay. We can be convention parents. Like we can walk around and be convention parents and
I've
just be
put in
like,
my time.
yeah,
I can be, I think I've reached that level now.
we did we actually were part of our friend Liz's panel at Awesome Con, which was a con survival guide. And we talked
Nice.
about stuff like that, where it was like,
Hmm.
yeah, make sure you hydrate, make sure you do this and that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's awesome. That's
Mhm.
really cool. And then somebody also went to Universal Fan Fest recently.
Oh my God. It was so good. Like I I don't even know where to begin. Like I was so surprised at the level of commitment
Yeah.
and how far they like cuz I mean it was a first year event. You know,
Mhm.
Horror Nights has been running for like over 20 years. Universal knows that on either coast they're going to make money. It's fine. Horror Nights
Yeah.
is so popular, it's legendary. People go every year, people are excited every year. But this was a first time event and I know that, you know, given that there was probably a very limited budget to what the people at Universal Studios Hollywood could do with it, and they did everything they could with it, and I was so impressed. Like I know that a lot of the other theme park YouTubers are saying, and they're completely right about this, that the Hill Valley experience was something that you could spend hours in, and it
Yeah.
was like as it stood, even if you only went there for one loop, a loop in that experience was 45 minutes. And
Wow.
that was, yeah, you went in, and if you were timed right, you'd go in at the same time Marty comes to Hill Valley, and then the strategy from there would be just to like kind of follow him around.
Mhm.
And so yeah, so let me just summarize for folks who don't know. Universal Fan Fest Nights is or was, hopefully it is again,
Mhm.
Universal's new nighttime offering. It is very much like Horror Nights in that there are different houses or experiences that you walk through, and they're immersive. Some are more interactive than others. There are character meet and greets. There are themed food options. There are themed bars. And it was just a really impressive experience for something that is like a bare bones first year offering. And I hope that it did really, really well, because I would like to not only have it come back to the West Coast, but I'd love to see it happen on the East Coast, because you guys have so much more land out there, and you have Epic Universe now, which is just like
Yep.
the things, the possibilities, not only on your studio lot, but on the Epic Universe lot are just like immense. Like I think that thing is like a few like 500 acres or something. I can't even remember.
Yeah.
The number was like 5 times bigger than most theme parks, and most theme parks are about 110 to 125 acres. It's
Dude.
humongous. And they haven't even used like all the land that they purchased.
It is 750 acres. Epic
Oh,
Universe is 750 acres.
that's a 2-day park, and that's, I mean, like that's huge, because
Yeah.
like I am not I have, you know, my beliefs around the Wizard series
Yeah.
and its
Me too.
author. I don't go to those areas at
Mhm.
Universal Parks, but even with that thing there, I bet you if you go and you don't even do that, it's still a 2-day park.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They said
Mhm.
that the themed worlds across the park is 110 acres.
Yeah, holy cow, dude.
Yeah. And honestly, like my wife and I talked about it too. When we go to Epic Universe, we're gonna skip that one land and we're just
Mhm.
gonna do the other lands.
Yeah, yeah,
Because that's what we want to do.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. But FanFest on the Universal Hollywood website, FanFest has been announced for spring 2026.
I didn't even see that. Oh my god, really? Ah,
Yep. Yep.
oh, I'm so freaking happy. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so excited. And I bet I'm hoping that like what they offer next year is even bigger and better,
Mhm.
because so this year I will say that like I am a lifelong anime fan, but the
Yeah.
anime that was on offering was like I'm not like the biggest fan of it, but I understand that there are huge, passionate fandoms. And the
Yeah.
unfortunate part was that the anime offerings were among the smallest of the offerings.
Yeah. I saw that.
There was a One Piece character meet and greet. There were a couple character meet and greet sets, and the way that Universal Studios Hollywood is configured is it's on the top of a hill that essentially overlooks all of Hollywood. It's got these amazing views of the city, and it's right above where all of their actual working studios are for NBC Universal. Yeah, and so what that means is that the park is very small. Like the park
Yeah.
itself, the park was built around the idea of the studio tour. That was the
Yeah.
first thing that they built, was the studio tour, and then they were like, "This is working out pretty well. We should develop a theme park like Walt Disney's doing it. Why can't we do it? So they built on the hill, and so that's why we have such limited land
Yeah.
to build on. And because of that, the One Piece offerings were in this like narrow passageway that leads you from the start of the park past the Works area, past the Wizard area, and through the Simpsons land, and then it splits off into two parts. And to your right is where the studio tour picks up, and to your left is where Mario Land and Jurassic World and like all these Transformers, The Mummy, all of that is over there. Fast and the Furious, all of that. So that narrow passageway had 4 One Piece like meet and greets there, and it was crowded like
I'm
beyond,
sure.
because everyone was so excited about it. And so my hope is that next year the anime fans get larger offerings, because I feel like, especially with those, like, even though I am not the biggest fan of them, I know that those fan bases are huge and they're passionate. One Piece has been around for like 25 years. Like, people have grown up with this thing. And to just see it kind of like, oh, here's some costume characters and some food, it was like, that's nice. I'm glad it got that recognition. But Waterworld was 5 steps away. And it is arguably the best stunt show at a Universal theme park. Like, I will go there and say that. Like, Waterworld was so good that I got curious about the movie, which is not good.
No.
I was like, maybe I should watch that movie, and my friends were like, whoa, don't get crazy. But the thing about Waterworld is that stage is the exact same at Universal Studios Japan, and it is a One Piece stage. And I understand that like overlaying it would be a huge budgetary endeavor, and it would be a lot of money, and they would have to keep it One Piece themed probably all the way through the event. But I think it's worth it. Like, I think it would be one of the most popular attractions. And to add another show experience to FanFest nights, I think would be just so perfect. Like, I really hope that, like, you know, I feel very served as like a Star Trek fan. Like, I was blown away by what they had to offer, and I'm sure they're going to expand it next year. But I think when it comes to the anime properties, they could really, really afford to build on that, because anime fans are mainstream now. Like, they're not, you know, this isn't some little kiddie thing. Anime is on every single streaming service. It is incredibly popular. And I think those fans deserve more. So,
before we get into the Trek thing and the D&D thing from FanFest, going to the anime thing, I just have a few quick thoughts. I didn't see anything from Jujutsu Kaisen, even though I knew it was represented there. I guess that was another meet and greet.
I don't believe there were character meet and greets for that one. I don't even think they had themed food. What happened was, we have this thing called the DreamWorks Theater, and there's usually like a Kung Fu Panda show that is very similar to, I don't know what's there right now, but you know, the Nickelodeon Hanna-Barbera thing with like the moving chairs and stuff. So what they did was they overlaid that with Jujutsu Kaisen, which I think is impressive, but it's still, it didn't, if it was that and the character meet and greets and theme food, like, I think that would have been where they hit that sweet point, because like it just didn't balance out. And it was also, again, like you just said, like, I didn't see anything from it, and that's because it was shoehorned into a teeny tiny little building, and if you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't have gone there. So
and then I saw the One Piece characters, and they all looked incredible.
They look incredible. Yeah.
They all looked incredible. I mean, the Usopp with the nose, I thought was awesome.
That makeup was just so, like, so I saw some really grainy photos at first, and I wasn't super impressed. I was like, oh, I've seen cosplayers do better. But then when all the video footage came out, when I saw them in person, they were fantastic. And these actors are very clearly, like, were versed and briefed. Either they were fans or Universal did extensive training, because you see them interact with each other, and like their dynamics are on full display. And again, like, I am a deeply casual One Piece fan,
me too.
but I know how their relationship hierarchies are. Like I
Yeah.
know that like there's a crush from one character to the other, or like
Mhm.
these two characters are really best friends, and things like that. And you got to see that on display with these character actors. So I appreciated the depth that was on display from them. I just
Mhm.
feel I really wanted a stunt show. Just and
No,
I
I
wanted to
be
see a
great.
Waterworld stunt show. Really, like
Yeah.
that's what I wanted.
Um, but I was thinking of like what other anime properties they could do, and like I'd love to see a combination of new school and old school, right?
Yeah,
Um, like like one that I would love to see from new school is give me My Hero Academia. Like it's still
yeah, that
really
one's
big
really
right now.
popular. Hmm.
And like that to me, I love that anime because it's literally an X-Men anime
Yeah.
without
Hmm.
it being X-Men.
Yeah.
And then like I was thinking for old school, either Gundam or Robotech.
Oh, that'd be so sick. There's one I like. I don't know what anime Universal owns or has contracts to or whatever off the
Mhm.
top of my head, but I do know that like Pokemon is very adjacent, and I think
Yes.
there have been Pokemon offerings at Universal Studios Japan in the past. And so I honestly, if there's any other anime offerings, I hope that's at top consideration.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a very expensive license, but like it's not like they haven't worked together before. And I think that's a really great big thing to consider when it comes to the experiences that they could have on offer there.
Oh
So
yeah.
fingers crossed. And like I think last minute we got the Glinda and Elphaba like
Yeah.
photo experience, which was really cool. Like I'm very glad they did that. Like I hope that you know I could do away with the Wizard Land and have it fully
Oh,
replaced by Oz at this point. But I hope they do bring that back again next year. I know we'll be only a few months out from For Good being released
yeah.
in like November, December, I think. So it'll still be real hot. So yeah, so fingers crossed.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Universal Studios reveals epic anime plans for summer 2025 for Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Starting in July, they will have immersive. This is just for Japan. So they're going to have One Piece.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing Spy X Family,
Oh, fun! I love that one.
and they're doing the Apothecary Diaries also.
Hmm. I've
Yeah.
seen that one on Netflix. It's been like advertised to me, but I haven't fully gotten into it yet. So.
Apparently, that one's going to be a walkthrough, and you follow an investigation book through the park, solving clues about a panacea that might be more poison than a cure.
Wow.
That's really cool.
That's pretty cool. I did like the trailer a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
The Spy X Family is a VR ride, essentially.
Okay.
And then I don't see, and then the One Piece, it looks like it's pretty much the stunt show again, which is
Okay.
fine with
Which is
me.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, that's one of the partnerships. I was trying to look at other partnerships that they might have had, but not seeing anything yet. But I mean, the One Piece thing hit very well. So I have a feeling they will probably bring that back for next
Hmm.
year, probably, because it's One Piece. I mean,
Yeah. It was,
yeah,
I mean, it was such a cool experience just overall. Like even though I
yeah,
didn't hang in the anime attractions or anime
mhm,
offerings for too long, like seeing the fans interact with it.
yeah.
And again, those were like the longest lines were for those meet and greets
Oh,
with
of
the One
course,
Piece characters.
of
So
course.
I hope that like the fans coming out in droves and like crowding up the walkway and all of that. I hope that that's a good sign to Universal to
Yeah,
like up the offerings for them, because I felt like really well taken care of with everything else that went
yeah,
on. Like, let's crack into like the Star Trek offerings,
yeah. That's
right?
what I was gonna ask.
So they had a couple different things you could do with Star Trek. Obviously, the feature was Star Trek Red Alert,
Mhm.
which is you are in the Picard era. You're at the Starship Museum, and you enter to go visit the Enterprise D, right? And there have been some modifications so that they can like have larger groups. So like the turbo lift is a little larger, things like that. And then like, ADA compliant railings and stuff. But that's fine. Like that didn't ruin. Like there
No.
are there are some cranky old Star Trek fans who are like, they ruined everything, and I'm like, man, leave me alone. I love it. And it was very very cool. Like again, you could tell there were constraints with budget, but what
Yeah.
they did with that budget was so impressive. Like I was so blown away by it. And I bragging on my partner, he actually worked on several graphics that ended up being used during
That's
Universal
awesome.
Fan Fest nights. Like the Enterprise that was used in the advertising is his Enterprise D. Like he made that. And then also in the shuttle bay where you enter, as well as the bridge. There's a shot of the Starfleet Museum from two different angles, and he worked on that too. But of course, the highlight, you go through different rooms in the Enterprise, including the sick
Mhm.
bay. You're in the turbo lift, like I mentioned, the engineering room with the warp core behind you, which I thought was super cool. Then you go to the bridge of the Enterprise D, which like it was part recreation and part set piece from Picard. And if you know anything about like Picard and the way the set design happened, Liz Klukowski, who was one of the art director set designers on Star Trek Picard, was very particular about the red carpet because sourcing that carpet was an absolute nightmare.
Sure.
There were like signs everywhere during Picard production where it was like, don't step on the carpet, don't ruin the carpet, don't, because they had such, it's so limited what they
Yeah.
had with that carpet. So I was not surprised that we were only able to access like the back of the bridge and like the walkways and stuff.
Yeah.
But even with that, like being able to say, I set foot on the bridge of the Enterprise D and like I hit the LCARS view screens and like I watched this happen in this historical like location. It was just so incredible. And as a Star Trek fan, I was happy that we got anything in a theme park, which I have been begging for years and years and years and years. And
Yeah.
so I hope that they saw the appreciation that Star Trek fans had for that, because it was super fun running around in like my TNG like knockoff uniform. I was wearing the Pop Galaxy top
Yeah.
and like a cute little skirt and stuff, but it was fun, like waving to other Star Trek fans. And the important part for me about this was that I was able to bring my dad to Universal Fan Fest nights. That week we flew him out, we took him to Universal Fan Fest nights, and then we took him to Galaxy's Edge for the first time, and he built a lightsaber. And so the whole thing was so special. Getting to interact with other fans, it felt like they held a convention at a theme park essentially.
That's so awesome.
So cool. And then yeah, of course we went to Destination Hill Valley 1955, which was just amazing. Like of course it was a no-brainer because it was like, here's the actual set. Like this is the courthouse square from Back to the Future. They have it there at the Hollywood Studios, so they're going to utilize it. And they
Oh
had,
yeah.
it was a massive piece of land. So what they did was, it was very much like an immersive experience where they had
Mhm.
actors out there that were interacting with the guests. They had carnival games for some reason. And then, there was like a really cute photo op with like Einstein in the like a real dog. Einstein was sitting in the DeLorean. It was so cute. Like you could see his trainer there and stuff. And there were multiple dogs they used throughout the night.
That's awesome.
So like every 5 minutes they had to switch them out because it's an animal. They can only hold them for so long. But those
Oh
dogs
yeah.
were very, very good and like sat through so many photos and interactions and everything. Like wonderfully trained. And just the interactions you get are so special. We were regrouping in the middle of the courthouse square, and like Marty McFly ran up behind my partner and like hid behind him and it was like, hey, act like I'm not here, and like just hid from Biff while Biff passed by. And it was just very, very funny. It was very cute and all of that. When
That's
we
awesome.
had a little tiff with Biff where like he tried to make fun of us, and I was like, dude, between the three of us, you're the only one without a date to the dance. Like so it was great. So yeah, that there was that. And you took the studio tour tram down to the courthouse, and then the tram would
Yeah.
take you back. And when you arrived back, there was another really cool photo op with Doc Brown. So they had multiple Doc Browns. There was the 1955 Doc Brown who was down on set, and then the present day Doc Brown who was upstairs ready to take photos with you. The clock tower lady she's like the
Oh,
first one
really?
you encounter on the way in. So she's like, save the clock tower before you go and get on the tram. And so it's just great. And like George and Lorraine are there. They had the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. Marty actually played the guitar. Like I watched this guy like play guitar. So I guess that was part of like the casting like listing was like, you need to be able to play rock and roll guitar because you're going to be playing Johnny Be Good like 10 times a night. So yeah, so it was truly,
Was
truly
was Marvin Berry there to talk to call Chuck?
uh, no, unfortunately, but there was back upstairs. There was a fantastic band that like played all night. They were called the Flux Capacitors.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they were so fantastic. Like we barely got to see them. And this was the thing about FanFest nights, right? Like, okay, so over here we have Star Wars nights and the Disney evening offerings and
Yeah.
stuff. Those take place between 9 to 1 a.m., right?
Mhm.
You get about 4 hours. And like you can enter the park a little early.
Yeah.
You can mobile order some things early, but you don't experience anything until 9. Like that's when you
Yeah.
get in line and start doing stuff. And it's only 4 hours.
Mhm.
Universal Fan Fest nights ran from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. and we still didn't get to do everything. like God forbid we actually wanted to go to the anime offerings because we spent
Wow.
so much time in Hill Valley. We did Star Trek like twice, I think.
Yeah.
The D&D thing was like it was a little out of the way. It was a bit of a trek to get to it, but it was still worth it.
Right.
And like the Star Trek experiences was like it was 10 minutes long. The D&D thing was about 10-15 minutes long. Like these weren't just like, oh, go through the haunted house
Yeah.
for 5 seconds. It was you're here and you're going to experience this, and you have these opportunities to interact that I think will be built further upon in 2026. But like as a D&D fan, like going down to that experience was so cool and so much fun, and I really loved the way they crafted that story. Like I said, the interactions were a little limited. Like you didn't
Yeah.
get to choose your faction. Like you were a Harper whether you liked it or not. Like you're there. And the characters are mainly doing the performance, but every once in a while, like we had to do vicious mockery on a magical item to get it to work, and then we had to do vicious mockery again on Xanathar. And we were allowed to say terrible things to him. So I said, your mama's not proud of you, and stuff like that.
Poor
And
Xanathar.
it was great. It was so funny, and like the sets were incredible, and like
Yeah.
I was so deeply impressed with like
Mhm.
everything that was on offer. And then much like the Disney evening experiences, getting on rides so quick.
Oh yeah.
Like there was no line for nothing. I had never been to Mario Land before that point because it opened after I stopped going to the theme park, and like I moved up here to the Bay Area. So I hadn't had the chance to go, and I was really excited because my dad is also a Super Mario fan. So we got to take him to Mario Land, and we rode the Mario Kart ride, and we got into that thing in 5 minutes. And that line, like walking through the line was the only wait we had, was walking through the queue. And it was only 5 minutes because one, we're all over the age of like 35, so we're not runners.
Yeah.
And two, that queue is built for like a 3-hour hold.
Oh, sure.
and it's so impressive and so exciting. So we were trying to like actually look at it while we were going through.
Mhm.
But it was wild, like how quickly we got into to that, to like every, we didn't ride too many rides that night, but like if we had, I think it would have been very, very quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was so cool and impressive. And then like it was like I think 1 in the morning when we were finally like dragging ourselves toward the door because all of us were exhausted and we had to get up the next morning to like run to Disney in order to get there early enough to buy Lightning Lane for Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
But on our way out, we got stopped by like I guess the merch marketing team, and we got interviewed for like 15 minutes.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I mean, it was great to see that like they actually cared because like we weren't nice really at first about the merchandise on offer
Mhm.
because the merch was fine. It
Yeah.
was just fine, and it wasn't quite what I was hoping it would be.
Yeah.
And so like we went through all of that, and we were like, look, man, the main critique was that Universal Fan Fest Nights is one of those few things where like you're deeply encouraged to show up in cosplay. They
Yeah.
really want you to do that. And they had some items on offer that are supposed to like help you cosplay. But like, one of the things I want to zero in on is like there was a jacket that was crafted to look, I guess, like a Star Trek
Yeah.
uniform, but it had all these extra random graphics on like the sleeve, and like they
Uh,
were like Borg style, like funky little techno graphics. And it's like, I don't want to buy that if that's like if I'm supposed to cosplay. So give
yeah.
me cosplay items, or like if you want, it's fine if you want to like do Trek inspired things, but like make sure to offer us like merch that is immersive, or merch that is collectible. So I'm hoping that like next year we see those things, like the wider anime offerings, the
Yeah.
more like cohesive merchandise. There was a point in the evening where I was getting kind of like cold, and I was like, oh well, before we go to Hill Valley, let me go into the merch store and see if like maybe they have a Hill Valley varsity jacket. That would be really cool. They did not. All of
Yeah.
their Hill Valley offerings were like super 80s, which is
Oh, yeah. I
fine,
see it.
but like you're supposed to go to 1955, and like I would have really liked a cool varsity jacket, which I would have worn again and again afterward.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I just kind of dealt with the cold. Didn't buy a jacket at all. So that was kind of a bummer, but yeah, I mean for all of the lows, like there were 3 times as many highs for Universal Fan Fest Nights, and so I'm like so excited to hear that it's coming back. Like I'm already just like, well, better clear April. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the merch here. I pulled up a website, and like I see the jacket that you're talking about, and like it's cool looking, but
yeah, it's
yeah.
fine. But
Yeah.
it kind of, it's like it's a Picard, and for some reason like a lower decks jacket, and it has
Yeah.
those weird graphics on it. It's just like when it's different when you appeal to, and I can't speak for the horror community, but
Yeah.
when you appeal to like the science fiction anime, like adventure nerd community, we
Mhm.
want accuracy, we want immersion, we want to be
Absolutely.
part of it.
Yeah.
So I think there's something to be said about you can riff off of the style of those jackets and make something cool. Like Elhofer Design does that.
Mhm.
Has these really adorable crops that like
Yeah.
look, they have the same kind of patterning as a Star Trek uniform, but like it's also so subtle that like if nobody knew about it, they'd just be like, oh, that's a cool sweater. But if
Yeah.
they did know about it, they'd be like, oh, that's a cool Star Trek sweater.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just striking that balance, really. And I'm sure they can do it. Like they
They will.
they didn't seem offended at all when we gave them that feedback. So that was really, really cool.
I think they will. I think
Yeah,
they'll take it in consideration,
yeah,
considering that this was the first year and they were just trying to get stuff,
yeah, just getting
organized
off the
and
ground.
everything. Yeah. Um, that's awesome though that you guys had a great time at FanFest. And then this is going to bring us into our main topic of Andor. But
Woo!
so you took your dad to Galaxy's Edge. Um,
Oh,
yeah, tell
it was
me how
so
that was.
it was so special. I actually let me see if I can. I think I'm able to present here. So my dad lives in Florida, but I will say that your parks are very hard to navigate for a man who is almost 70
Yeah.
and who loves Star Wars. Like the Star Wars area over there, especially in like May when we were going, and like it was May 5th when we went, and I'm so sure that like your park was crowded around that time.
We did May 4th back during the pandemic. My wife
Yeah.
and I did May 4th back during the pandemic in
Hmm.
2021, and it was still crazy how
Yeah.
crowded it was.
Hmm.
And that was with reservations.
Yeah. So I was like, it's just easier. Like our parks, yes, they're smaller and like we don't have a big castle or whatever, but it is also easier to go and have a relaxed day at Disney instead of a stressful day where
Yeah,
everyone is upset and screaming and all that stuff. So the
yeah.
only stressful part was that like I said, we left Universal Fan Fest nights at like 1:45 and we went to bed at like 2:30ish and we had to get up at 6 so we
Oh,
could go. Yeah, so we went to from there to Disneyland, and my friend Kyle graciously signed my partner and my dad in. I already had the day reserved,
yeah.
so we got them signed in and stuff. And then as soon as we were in the parks, like Kyle and I were immediately on the app, and we got Lightning Lane for Rise of the Resistance, which was completely worth it because Dad hadn't been yet, and I wanted Dad to like experience Galaxy's Edge. So that is really where we spent a majority of our day. We went on May 5th, like I said, the day right after, the May the 4th celebration. And we did the first thing we did was Rise of the Resistance because of those lightning lanes. So we were
Great ride.
so cool. Yeah. So we walked over there. We did Rise. He loved it. We went and got breakfast wraps at Ronto's. Yeah, and I showed him like all the fun parts and like I spouted off all the trivia I know about like in-world and behind the scenes development
Yeah,
for Galaxy's Edge. So like there was no moment where he didn't have me like yapping at him. And it was just cool to like get to take him to this place, and he was
yeah.
very impressed. And then like around like the afternoon, we had a reservation at the lightsaber building experience, and I'm going to see if I can present this to you just so
Yeah,
that everyone can see the emotional impact of what
yeah,
taking your dad to Galaxy's Edge and helping him build a lightsaber is like. So
yeah,
so here we go. I made this little, I'm going to
yeah. We're
shut this.
actually going to get.
Yeah, so you'll get to see.
Oh, man, I won't care. I'll have spent one day out there.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it was pretty amazing
yeah,
getting to do that with him, and like he loved it. It was very emotional for all of us, and we, because of the way Disney is structured, we were able to just like share or ship his lightsaber straight from the parks.
yeah.
We went to First Order Depot, and then they just like shipped it right out. So that
Ship
was
the
really
world.
fun. Yeah, I love it. And they were like, "Oh, it's going to take like 3 weeks to get there," and it was there the very next week. So they overestimate for safety, of course,
Yeah,
because I'm
of
sure they
course.
deal with guests who like suck. But Dad was happy to do that wait, and he was really excited when it got to him early. He originally wanted, it was so okay. So the super emotional part of this was he had originally had a plan for like what he wanted. He wanted to go in and use the elemental build
Mm-hmm.
and build a lightsaber that's similar to this character from an anime that he really likes. And then he was, they present to you all of the parts before you enter,
Yeah,
so that you can get your card and like the type of build you want and stuff like
yeah.
that. And like right at the last minute, he saw the like protection and defense build.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that one. And he
Yep.
was like, "Oh, that one." And I was like, oh well, I thought his heart was like set on this elemental build, and like he really wanted to do it. And he had a blade color he wanted and stuff, but like that didn't work out because they don't have like white crystals in the experience. Like you have to go buy those docks. So we went through the experience. It was super emotional. And then after that, like we turned the corner and it was like, oh, hey, Millennium Falcon is like 15 minutes. So we go to Millennium Falcon and we're sitting there in line and like just waiting because it's like not that long of a line. And he like turns around and talks about how cool the experience was. And then he was like, yeah, I really like wish, I really wish I could have brought your abuelo here. And abuelo is Spanish for grandfather, for those who don't know. He's like, your abuelo would really, really love this. I feel like he was there with me when I chose this lightsaber, and that's why I chose this build. I know. Crying in the Millennium Falcon line on a Monday afternoon. Like
Nothing better, right?
nothing better. And so it was such a great experience. And my partner, who is like the biggest sweetheart in the world, afterward, like my dad and I like sat down because we needed to rest for a second. And so my partner ran into Doc Ondar's. Oh no, we were going to ship his lightsaber at that time. So while we were there, my partner ran into Doc Ondar's, bought him the cube. Oh my God, what is it called? The holocron, and like 4 other lightsaber colors, including like the crystals, including the white one that he wanted, so that he could change his crystals and stuff. So it's just like a really emotional and sweet day. And like we barely did anything else at Disneyland that day. Like we rode the railroad because I wanted to have him see like a piece of Disney history, and like other things like Mr. Lincoln weren't open, so we did the railroad. I think we did Pirates. I don't know, I can't remember if it was that night or we went to Star Wars nights after, like the day after my dad had left, and we just went with my friends and stuff. But we did the railroad, and then we were leaving, and this was again another moment where we were like, oh my God, my body's so beat, I want to go sleep at our hotel, it was conveniently located like directly across the street from the Disneyland exit, which was great. And then the Disneyland band like walked out as we were exiting the train. We were like, well, I guess we'll stay a little longer. And we got to watch the band, which was incredible. They were doing rehearsals essentially for the 70th anniversary. So the suite that they're playing right now during the 70th is what we got to see that day. And it was just so special and wonderful. And it was great.
That's awesome. I mean, that's so cool.
I know, right?
It's kind of hard to follow up that. Follow that up.
On the topic of emotions, let's talk Andor.
Well, in a second. Well, like when it comes to the lightsaber building experience, it truly is an emotional experience. Like it's incredible. And it feels like you feel the presence of the Force there. Like it's so crazy. However, like your dad, I wish that they had other colors to offer for the blades, because like if they had the white crystal and the yellow crystal, I think that would be a really unique opportunity for them. But that's just,
I also think it's just like they're the sticking to the 4 crystals that they have, which are blue, green, red, and purple, is very like light side or dark side. Whereas like the white and the yellow ones, like the yellow is also kind of like, it's been used by the Jedi Sentinels and stuff, but it's also used by characters who aren't quite Jedi, quite Sith, like Asajj Ventress, Rey, who is on a brand new path to redefine the Jedi. Like I think, and Ahsoka, who is a Jedi now, I guess, but was not, and was very much like defining her own path for a very long time. And so I think it would kind of speak to what that experience is just like, we aren't Jedi or Sith when we build those lightsabers. We're making a choice that calls to us, but like it's not, oh, I'm part of the Order or whatever. And I think it would be way more special to just like get that choice,
I mean, if they did like a Wayseeker inspired hilt, I think that would be really cool too. because I want the High Republic build myself,
Yeah.
because I just love those pieces. They were just so beautiful.
Hmm.
Um, but like yeah, when I was talking to the person, because they actually held us back at the end, like afterwards,
Mm.
to talk to us, because they're like, "Yeah, what inspired your build?" And I said, "Yeah, the Jedi of the High Republic and everything." And they're like, "Yes, we love that. Like that's awesome." And I said, "Well, have you made suggestions to Savi?"
Mm.
Because like you can't say like, "Well, have you told Disney like maybe you guys
Right.
should have
Yeah.
white and yellow?" I was like, "Yeah, well, have you made suggestions to Savi that, white and yellow crystals would be pretty cool too?" So, I
Hmm.
mean, we'll see. Um, yeah. So speaking of things that emotionally wreck people, Andor happened.
Yep. Andor did happen. It's so like my partner is downstairs right now, like watching Andor, so it's very, very fun to be able to talk about this. I told him he's not allowed back in the office till we're done. So,
Okay. Is this his first time watching it?
season 2, yeah,
Okay. Cool.
yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Hmm.
It's so before we dive into spoilers and everything, um, what were your thoughts on season 2?
Just incredible. I mean, I was skeptical at first coming in with like, oh my god, I have to watch 3 hours every week. It's gonna be
Yeah.
so much work. Blah blah blah. It was not that much work in the end.
Mm.
Thankfully, it was not. It was not that awful because it just felt everything felt very seamless.
It did.
It was still very much that week to week format, which I think is so important for streaming. I am very much against like the binge the whole series model. I think that completely eliminates conversation around the show. And the unfortunate part is like, that a lot of execs don't realize is that conversation online is what fuels and makes hit TV. That is why Game of Thrones was so successful. That's why Star Wars Rebels got so popular, because every week we were talking about it for a solid 7 days until the next episode. And so I'm glad that they, even though we had 3 parts a week to watch, there was enough to like really have those long conversations about like what's going to happen next. What are your theories? Why do you think this happened? Like, how do you think this
Yeah.
is going to play out? So I
Yeah.
really, I enjoyed it. I mean, I was nervous at first, but all of my nerves were
Yeah.
replaced with other nerves throughout the series.
Um, yeah. I love that you bring up the whole week to week thing, because
Hmm.
us growing up in the '90s, like we did,
Hmm.
um, that's how it was. It was week to
Yeah.
week for 25 straight weeks, except for like
Hmm.
Christmas. Like they would take that holiday break,
Right.
um, but you had those water cooler conversations, which
Hmm.
was that's what drove the popularity of those shows. And I love that you bring up how like us talking about it online is like the modern day water cooler conversation when it
Hmm.
comes to that. I will say this, however, though, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general, people need to really lay off the spoilers, especially the day after this thing drops, because not
Mm,
everybody has the opportunity to see these things.
yeah.
And for those that said, "Well, stay off of social media," it's kind of hard for people to do that sometimes, because some
Yeah.
people use social media for their jobs.
Yeah. I am one of those people.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason my partner and I couldn't watch together
Yeah.
was because I had to watch immediately or
Mhm.
else I would get spoiled because I
Yeah.
had to be on social the very next day because I'm in marketing. Like I have no
Yeah.
choice. So back in the day too, we had like and even Star Wars enforced this where it was just like, hey folks, don't talk about spoilers online for like 2 days if you're cool
Yeah.
with it. And that was like there were rules within fandom where you'd be looked down upon if you
Yeah.
talk spoilers online. And I kind of miss that culture where
Me too.
it's like, hey, keep it to the group chat, like
Hmm.
talk to your friends about it and don't talk about it online. Because then we were all excited by the time like Friday came around, like, oh boy, we can all talk about it now. And most of the world would have gotten it because the other thing that's important to think about is that I think the UK gets it 2 days after us, essentially. Like
Essentially,
they have a delay in how quickly they get Andor. And so when it comes to like the English speaking communities specifically, like it's important for us to wait on that, you know?
yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, I miss that a lot. That whole her whole like mid 2020 2020s culture, or mid 2010s culture
Yeah.
on you know, the site that formerly used to be Twitter. That was some good Star Wars back then.
Well, yeah, I mean, even with Marvel movies, they did the same thing. There was like
Hmm.
this etiquette where like
Yeah, no
once a movie
spoilers.
came out, like even for that initial opening weekend, you didn't talk about spoilers unless you were in a group chat.
Yeah.
Like even at a convention, you didn't talk spoilers because like I remember the
Hmm.
Awesome Con the same weekend that Endgame came out. We
Hmm.
saw it the night before AwesomeCon, and we were just like, "Well, we can't really talk about this thing,
Yep.
like, as
Yeah.
awesome as it was." But yeah, that to me is just one of the important things. Like, let's bring back that etiquette. Like, seriously, let's bring back that etiquette. Um, especially for the UK people.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right, so there were a bunch of highs and lows this season with Andor. Um, we saw the world's creepiest relationship.
Oh my god, I loved it. I
Me too.
I loved how bad it was. It's like I oh man. Like they were preparing us for that, you know? Like
Yeah,
the actors talked about their dynamic a lot, and like
yeah.
how I think it was oh goodness, and I forgot her name.
Denise Go.
Denise Go,
Yeah,
she was like their
oh,
relationship is their downfall,
yeah,
and that was very much the case with them. Like they, I think they, you know, you when you see two Nazis in love, you're not supposed to root for them to be happy, and that was delivered very very clearly
yeah,
with that relationship where it's like things are wrong and they both know things are wrong, and
yeah,
even in moments where like, you know, I I wanted to cheer Dedra for protecting her partner from his awful mother and like setting a boundary. Essentially, I was like,
yeah,
wow, what a healthy thing for you to do. That's really weird. But then you're immediately reminded, like, oh yeah, these are terrible fascist assholes. Like they don't deserve us like cheering them on in that way, you know. And
yeah,
I think like that, and that contributed to the overall theme of like, if you don't understand nuance, you're not going to fully enjoy the extent of what Star Wars has to offer you.
yeah.
And I understand that, like, you know, the thing about Star Wars is it's a multi-genre saga.
Absolutely.
So there's some Star Wars that is like for some people, and then there's some Star Wars they don't really like that much, and that's fine because they still have Star Wars that is for them.
Mhm.
And so the thing about it is that like so many people are like, oh, this is the best Star Wars ever, this is the only Star Wars that like delivers the message of Star Wars, and I'm like, how dare you come into my house on the 25th anniversary, or the 48th anniversary of A New Hope, and tell me that A New Hope wasn't anti-fascist? Like
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. My wife was just like, "What are you having a crisis about?" I was just like, "We're talking about fandom, um, and how it relates to Andor." Um,
Mhm.
but no, that's true. Like if you can't pick up on the nuances, it's really tough to enjoy those things. It
Mhm.
really is. It's just let's talk about the show, and then we're going to talk about the fandom around
Right.
the show because I want to focus on the show real quick, and then I want to kind of address the whole fandom thing that you brought up. Um, this show is brilliant. It's
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
just amazing.
Yeah. Um, but I will say this: what it does, what it was able to do in 12 episodes, even with year-long time skips in between sections is incredible.
Hmm.
I wish we had seen some of those missions here and there that they talked about, or like some of the things that they talked about, especially like when they talk about the Imperial officer that they had to kill. What was it, in the second story arc or something like that?
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, I wish we had seen something like that, but I'm glad that we got the parts that we did.
Yeah. I think that the thing to remember too is that along with being multi-genre, Star Wars is a multimedia saga,
Yes.
and these hints, these like little things, they leave the door open for,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, what if we get an Andor era video game? What if we
Yeah.
get more novels from the Andor era that fill these things out? Like they tell enough story they need to tell within the context of that scene, but if we want to, we can go find out what that is. Like,
Yeah.
the let's think about the business on Cato and Emodia
Yeah.
20 years ago, and how 18 years later you found out the business was Ventress
Hmm.
in Star Wars Brotherhood,
Yeah.
so down the road we'll probably find out more of these things if there is
Yeah.
a bigger story to tell about them.
Yeah. I mean,
Mm.
and that's the thing. Like, if they leave it open for the story, like you said, and if they
Mhm.
want to tell that story, cool. If not, I'm perfectly fine just being like, okay, I don't get to see that mission, but
Yeah.
I still understand what happened. That's cool. I
Hmm.
still have what I have. Um, Also, this show tackled so many issues relating to
Hmm.
PTSD, relating to um, assaults and
Yeah.
violence, which we talked about on our show one night. Yeah, I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna let you take over here with like gush about Andor, talk about Andor, talk about what you want, and I'll jump in from
Yeah.
there.
I mean, I think one of the standout things about Andor is like, yes, the title character has a very important story and arc, and like it makes Rogue One, it changes the way you view Rogue One completely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm very excited to maybe rewatch the final arc and then watch Rogue One directly after.
Mhm.
But I will say that, like, and this is something that Tony Gilroy has said too, the most important players in Andor season 2 are the women.
Yeah.
Their arcs deeply define everything that happens,
Hmm.
including, you find out at the very last minute, like, Clea was the person in charge of it all.
Yeah.
Like, Clea was the one making those moves. Luthen was working on the connections, yeah, doing all of this groundwork, but Clea was making the decisions. So
Yeah.
we credit the rebellion to a lot of women, and I think
Mhm.
that it's, I don't know, it's obvious and it's canon, but so many people don't realize like what it really means, that Clea was the foundational person for all of the guerrilla warfare
Yeah.
that the rebellion was commencing, and if you rewind to that deleted scene in Return or Revenge of the Sith, like, Padme was one of the sparks of that rebellion.
Yeah.
Leia took on that mantle. Mon Mothma was part of that rebellion. Bix's decisions are a huge part of what
Yeah.
happens to the rebellion. And, she certainly was a key player. Vel and Cinta and all of these women. I completely forgot her name, but Anna, I think the woman on Gorman, who,
Wilman's girlfriend.
not woman's girlfriend, the
Oh.
daughter of that one man, gosh, I forgot her name.
Oh, the
But she
one
was,
that was angry at Cyril.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
she was also a key player in like in maintaining the communications, the plans, everything that
Yeah.
was happening with the Gorman Rebellion. And I appreciated Andor for that, because if you're not a person like who has problems with like literary comprehension and stuff, like, you see that so blatantly, like, this
Yeah.
this rebellion would be nowhere without all of these women, and like Cassian would have been long dead if not for the women in his life, the women making the decisions about the rebellion, like that it's such a huge part of that
Yeah.
story. And I really appreciate that, like, season 2 very deeply empathize that was just like, you wouldn't be here if it weren't for them, you know?
Yeah.
There would be no rebellion.
I also love that in season 2, going to what Tony Gilroy said with the women being the big part of the season.
Hmm.
Um, I love that Cassian does take a back seat. I
Yeah.
love that he takes a back seat. Um, we see him. I mean, we still see him, but I love like the times when we weren't seeing him. I didn't like it wasn't jarring or anything.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, well, Cassian's doing his own thing. You're so invested in what's going on with Clea, what's going on with Dedra, what's going on with all of these characters
Hmm.
that okay, yeah, oh, here's Cassian. Oh, okay, but I kind of want to go back to this other story because this other story was like really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, he's still, his storyline is still so important, and the
Absolutely.
choices made in it, I think, are incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's so funny because like season 1 is absolutely a show I would call Andor.
Yeah.
Season 2 is something that I would probably retitle Dawn of the Rebellion. You know,
I yeah.
I because it's about everyone, and it's
Mhm,
about like the Empire's failings in
yeah.
stopping this gigantic movement that then becomes a whole galaxy-wide rebellion. I'm going to
Hon
continue listening to you, but my cat really needs to be fed, so I'm going to be
That's
off
fine,
camera for a
that's
second.
fine. But
That's all good.
honestly, you could call it Rebels. Like, you could
Yeah,
really call it Rebels.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
Whoop,
But yeah, Andor
why can't I hear
is
you anymore?
you're good. Can you hear me?
Hold on. Give me just a sec.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Oh, there we go. Okay,
Okay.
I got you. Okay.
No, I'm gonna keep talking.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I love that. Like, you could call that Dawn of the Rebellion because of the supporting characters. Um, I mean, the story arc with Clea alone is just oh man, it's beautiful, and the flashback episode that we get with her and her relationship with Luthen and how it's like a it's definitely based on hatred.
Hmm.
Um, well, also a little bit of love. Like she grows to love him, but
Yeah.
it's more of the hatred. Um, I mean, they have this back and forth that's really interesting in how Luthen just kind of wants to going back to what you said, Luthen just really just wants to kind of take it easy and like kind of just go and hide. And Clea's like, no, like I've lost everything. You've lost everything. Like we
Hmm.
need to fight back.
Hmm.
Like we need to fight back. And then he starts to, I mean, in my opinion, I feel like she starts to like really radicalize him.
Yeah.
Um, and I love that because you think, oh, well, he radicalized her. No, her passion for fighting, like her passion for like wanting to get revenge on the people that did the stuff to her,
Hmm.
that fuels him, which I think is so important to look at. Um, and I love that flashback episode. I love that flashback episode so
Yeah.
much. Because then I also love just Clea just going through the hospital, just like Jason Bourne style,
Hmm.
taking people out because Tony Gilroy worked on Jason Bourne, so you know
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's so funny when they're just like, there are at least 3 rebels in here, blah, blah, blah. It's just Clea. It's,
Yeah, but
it's,
yeah,
she's
she does it
amazing.
so well. She does it so well.
Hmm.
And then also our new Glup Shido is the old grandma. Uh,
Grandma,
yeah,
Skeeting
ah,
Grandma.
ah.
I
The
love, oh, and the Niamos theme song being
yes.
elevator music.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I noticed that too. That was great. And I love that. So speaking of Niamos, real quick, like Tony Gilroy has even said, like, this is a galactic hit, so you're going to
Hmm.
hear it in multiple renditions. And I said, I love this for this song. Like, it's so good.
It's so
It's so
good.
good.
I
Oh
just love
man.
it. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm all over the place when talking about these characters and these story arcs, but there's so much. Like, there's so
Hmm.
much. Um, But yeah, Clea, definitely an important character. I would even say just as important as Mon Mothma, really.
Yeah.
Um,
I
uh,
mean, Mon Mothma would be nowhere without Clea's
yeah,
actions. I mean, that's
absolutely.
something, and I think she realizes that too. That she doesn't see herself as a founder of the rebellion. She sees herself as like a keeper of it. She
Mhm.
is a shepherd of the
Yeah,
rebellion, and she knows what her part is. She knows what she has to do, especially when it comes to what she has to sacrifice from, like, not just basic comforts, but she has to sacrifice her family,
yeah,
essentially her relationship and her connection to her family, is something she, outside of Vel, is something that she has to let go of.
yeah,
And she also has to be okay with the fact that, like, the stakes are so high that at any minute Vel could get killed.
yeah,
She could not make it out of this rebellion with her sister, which is, something that, is what we've seen before in characters and how they deal with it. Bo-Katan is a really great example of someone who, even long after Satine's passing and the fall of her people, like, she's still dealing with that
yeah.
trauma in the Mandalorian. So I can only imagine what Mon Mothma holds and what she has to deal with every single day. So
Yeah. I mean, between all of her council meetings and all of that
mm,
stuff too, just on
mhm.
Yavin, I would say, just on Yavin. But you're right, like she has to let go of so many things, but she also needs to embrace what's going on, and
Yeah.
she does an amazing job with that. And that speech that she has
Mm,
in episode 9 really cements that she is full on, like, I'm ready to embrace this, like I'm ready
yeah.
to do this.
Mhm. I love that there's an episode of Andor which is so serious and so intense
Mhm.
that connects to arguably one of the best episodes of Rebels, a
Yeah,
children's show.
yeah, yeah.
It leads directly into Rebels, which is
Mhm.
wild. Like that
Yeah.
that speech, everything like goes straight into it. And I love that. Like, I love that we get to see and make those connections that,
Mhm.
if you're not a huge Star Wars fan and you don't know about it, that's fine. It's not going to
Yeah,
like take away from your experience. But if you
yeah,
are, it's like a little icing on the cake for that episode to know that, like, in an hour, Mon Mothma is going to be with Hera and Ezra,
yeah,
Chopper, and everything. Like, it's great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and that's one of the things, that I'll talk about the accessibility in a little bit. Um, but yeah, Mon Mothma and Genevieve O'Reilly
Mm,
deserves an Emmy for
yeah.
for her performance.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
everybody
she has
does.
a really good shot at it.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
genuinely,
I agree.
I think this is the year that, like, we have a really good shot at Star Wars doing more than VFX
Mhm.
at the Emmys.
Yeah.
I especially when it comes to, like, I think in my perfect world, Adria Arjona would also have a really good shot at it. But, like, I
I
also
agree.
know how the world works.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't, despite her, I would put her performance on par, and this may be controversial, but even above that of Genevieve O'Reilly with
Oh no,
this
I see it.
series, because she deals with stuff that is so intense and so huge, and Bix's character arc is like so important. But I definitely think that Genevieve O'Reilly has, like, realistically a very good chance of ending up in the at least the nominee category.
Oh yeah. And I agree. I think Audra more than beats her. Honestly, I mean, every person that
Just
performed
yeah,
in this show deserves an Emmy nom.
yeah.
Honestly, I mean, Diego deserves it.
Mhm.
I'm blanking on the actress that plays Clea, Elizabeth.
Oh, Dulau, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and that was her first role,
Her first role ever, which is crazy. Just my gosh.
and she pulled it off perfectly. Like you would think she'd been acting for years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You would, yeah. I think that's what makes this series so special as an Emmy contender, is that a lot of these people have never been up for Emmys, and Genevieve O'Reilly has not had to my knowledge, I might be wrong. Someone can correct me in chat, but she hasn't had any like wowie kablowy Emmy nomination work. On top of that, her scene was cut out of Revenge of the Sith when she originated the role, her performance of Mon Mothma. You know, like she didn't make it into the final cut, but people liked her so much and she was so important to the Star Wars fandom that they brought her back. And with that, she has done like incredible work, intense work. And I think it's so important to, you know, think about that when it comes to these Emmy nomination submissions and the potential for nominations and wins. Is like these are people who came straight out of the gate and were incredible actors and didn't have all of this recognition and all of these like prolific achievements before this, you know, even though they absolutely deserve it. You know, Diego's been acting for most of his life. You know, he's been in really big projects and hasn't gotten, in my opinion, the recognition he deserves as an actor. So to have all of these people up as contenders for nominations is so important. And I really, really hope that, you know, the the snobbiness of award nomination processes moves aside, at least for this series, because like this was incredible television.
Genevieve O'Reilly received a nomination for Supporting Actress Drama at the 2023 Irish Film and Television Awards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, she deserves so much more.
Oh, 100% agree. 100% agree. I mean, and that just shows you the care and the detail that went into this show and the love that went into the show as well, because everybody never phoned it. I mean, everybody on screen never phoned it in.
Yeah.
Like, even the smallest character never phoned it in, which is, and you know what? Like, this could have easily aired on HBO as a prestige drama.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
and it would have, I bet you if it didn't have the Star Wars thing, it would have garnered more buzz. But I mean, it's Star Wars, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, like I especially going into the second season, I think after that first arc debuted, people were immediately like, oh, Star Wars is serious. They're being real serious about this. I even want to note that like funky little alien guys didn't play that huge of a part until the latter half of these arcs. When they were like, all right, here's some funny little aliens just to remind you that it's Star Wars. But it, you know, it's I think that it works so seamlessly in these episodes. And scrolling through some Star Wars stuff, I do also want to note that in Andor, there are callbacks in very subtle ways to other parts of Star Wars, namely in the final arc, the hospital that Clea, you know, busts into is named after Lena So from the High Republic, which I thought, like, the moment I heard that name, I was like, what? What did you just say? Lena So! That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Oh, I know.
A long time.
And for, like, Gilroy and them to incorporate that is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, that's the same as like the fact that one of the episodes of Andor leads into an episode of Rebels, like right after. And I love that. I think that's so, it's special to me as a Star Wars fan. And I understand that like some people don't like the tone shift between that episode and Rebels, or the end of Andor to Rogue One and to A New Hope, which is, you know, far more camp than others, but I love it. I don't care. I have ADHD, so I guess it's just like, oh, fun. Okay, a little change of pace. That's cool to me. But I love that. I love it when Star Wars is seamless. I love it when Star Wars is connected, even if it's in a very subtle way. You know, Tony Gilroy, he didn't sacrifice anything in that episode to connect it to Rebels, and it still seamlessly does.
And that's the interesting thing. Like when you go back and you look at that episode of Rebels, you truly see like the weight on Mon Mothma's shoulders, especially like once you get to that, it's right after the Gorman massacre.
Yeah.
So she's still reeling with all of that, and it's, oh man, it's so brilliantly done.
Hmm.
So brilliantly done. Um and like knowing like what she just risked to get out and to get her story out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. I love it.
It's, yeah, me too. Um yeah. Um I I don't know how to tackle this show without talking about the acting, without talking about the writing, because like
Hmm.
we talked about the story arcs, like on our show we talked about the story arcs, and they were all amazing. I mean, the Gorman massacre, like, oh my god.
I was so scared going into that
Yeah.
episode. I had no idea what to expect, how intense it would be. I was nervous as fuck. And can I say that?
Yeah, go
Sorry
ahead.
for saying
I'll
the F
allow
word
it.
on
Yeah,
your.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, no,
sorry for
I'll
saying the
allow
F
it.
word on your show. But I was super nervous. Like
No,
I
hey.
did, because I have, I've been through prestige TV, which is,
Yeah,
it can get real gory and grody. And even this is what speaks so well to what they did with Andor is without the gore, without the face ripping, without this or that. Like that episode was still a nail biter. It was still
yeah,
intense. The emotional resonance of every single thing that happened was still at that level without like, we're gonna rip this person's throat out on camera. Like it still broke you.
yeah. And yeah, I mean, and like as you're at that episode, I mean, it opens kind of normally, except for you hear about like the explosions going off and stuff like that. And you're like,
Hmm.
okay, okay. And then, like, as the episode's going on, that tension is building and
Mm,
building and building and building and building. And then finally, when you get to that point, and I just found it really interesting because, like, you see some of the people, the first couple of people get shot and they go down, but the crowd is still singing in peaceful protest. And it
hmm.
isn't until like more people start going down that they start realizing like what is happening.
Yeah.
And oh, it was so brilliantly done with that. And it's scary. It is
Yeah.
scary. It is claustrophobic.
Hmm.
You cannot breathe.
Yeah.
And
It's
then that, yeah,
and the showdown with Cyril, and oh my god. Oh, it's so satisfying.
yeah,
Okay. My my least popular Star Wars opinion is that I wanted Kylo Ren to stay bad. Um
yeah,
I wanted him to have the ending that a fascist oppressor
I
deserves.
agree.
And like this is not to downplay the importance of Ben Solo and how much it means to those fans and stuff.
Yeah,
But I wanted to see somebody who did wrong get their just desserts.
yeah,
And that's what happened with
yeah,
Cyril. And I loved it because it didn't matter how much they humanized him. He realized way too late in the game,
yep,
like 7 years too late in the game, after like being so excited about being an enforcer and trying real hard to climb the ranks in this fascist regime. He realized they were the bad guys, and he did so at the last minute. And even that realization did not stop him from wanting to kill Cassian,
yeah.
and he got exactly what he deserved, and I loved it. It was so good.
I loved how brutal that fight was too.
Yeah, wow.
That fight
That
is so brutal.
that was like I don't know how or why, but it reminded me of like Terminator level fights
Yeah,
where like Cyril's desperation is so deeply ingrained in him that when he should absolutely be dead, his body is brutalized. He looks
mhm,
awful, disgusting, but he is still going. It is that rage that drives him, the
yeah,
same kind of rage that like kept Darth Maul alive through the Force. You
yeah,
see it on full display on someone who doesn't have those powers,
yeah,
and it's terrifying, and it's also like that's what you deserve. Like you deserve
yeah,
to feel this way like moments before the end of you.
yeah. And I also think it's it's amazing how they're so engrossed in that fight that they forget everything else is going on around
Mhm.
them until that bomb goes in through the window, and
Yep.
then they're like, "Oh crap, that's right, that's still going on."
Mhm.
And then they forget about it again and go at it again. It's so brutal, and brilliant. And
Mhm.
then we get the KX units that were just brutal also. That
So
was
scary.
scary.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Yeah.
So scary, but it was so well done. Like they delivered with that episode. Absolutely delivered with that episode. I
Mhm.
mean, and now like I can't watch Rebels without thinking about it now, especially
Yeah.
that episode with Mon Mothma. Like you cannot not think about that. And like
Mhm.
and then I think you brought up something. I think it was you who brought up there's the scene in Rogue One when they're in Jeddah City and Cassian says we need to get out of here. This place is about to pop.
Mhm.
And and then I'm thinking, oh, he's thinking about Gorman right now.
Yeah,
Like,
he knows.
yeah,
He can feel that in the
yeah,
air. It's just like this is exact. I've been here. It's not just Gorman either. It's like
yeah,
it's Ferrex. It's
yeah,
Morlana One. It's all of these places that he has been to and experienced. Like now he knows. Like he is a seasoned, unfortunately, a seasoned professional
yeah,
when it comes to knowing when the Empire is about to blow a spot up. So
yeah.
like it's just so like it enhances again it enhances everything about Rogue One, like
Mhm.
that whole series,
It
and I
does.
really appreciate that.
It does. So can I tell you about something? And this is going to be kind of an unpopular opinion, but
uh
I'm gonna say this right now. Um,
mm.
I wasn't a fan of the reveal at the end of the
No, me
finale.
neither. Oh my gosh.
Okay, okay, good, 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 good.
I was talking with
Yeah,
Candace from the Geeky Waffle about this
yeah.
too, where I was just like, I don't want a consolation baby. I really
No.
don't freaking want one. It would be so annoying and like just kind of an insult to like Bix's whole arc. Like
Yeah,
this it's after everything she's been through, like now she's here with this baby, like, and it just pissed me off. Like I wanted to
yeah.
see her being an active rebel or being, I don't know. The writers had much different viewpoints on this than I did, but I was not happy with the whole
Mhm.
the baby thing. And like
Yeah.
now it's devolved into like something so stupid where people are like, is that Poe Dameron? It's like,
No.
no, get your math right. First off. And second, like stop being weird about it because there's a
Yeah.
whole comic about his parents. Like it's just I was not pleased with it. It
No.
made me very upset, and I just
Because to me, it feels like it kind of just negates Cassian's sacrifice. It kind of
yeah,
negates what, like you said, like what Bix did. Like Bix needed to get away. She needed to allow Cassian to do what he needed to do, and then for her to be like, "Oh, by the way, baby," and I'm like,
yeah. Like, oh, I ran away because I was pregnant. Like, man,
like,
it's
yeah,
it's very it was that was pretty much the biggest critique I had of the show was just like when I was just like, oh my god, something stupid's coming. When I like saw
yes,
that scene play, I was like, oh, this is gonna be so dumb. And I saw like Vix walking through the field, and I was like, she's got a baby in her arms, I bet, and she did, and it was just so I was so annoyed.
I think I threw like my fork down or something. Like I was eating, and I like threw my fork down. And I was like, really,
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. It's
It
it's
it
like
should
what now? Is Clay a housewife or something?
yeah,
Is
yeah.
yeah, so
It
stupid.
should have just ended with B2 Emo getting chased by his droid buddy. That's it.
Yeah,
That's how it should have ended.
yeah. Like I
Yeah,
would have, it would have been fine. I would have even loved, like, if we did pan to Bix and she was like having lunch with those people and she
yeah,
just looked up to the sky, like that would
yes,
have been fine with me.
yes,
That would have hurt. But
yeah,
now, but in the end, it just kind of ticked me off. I was just like, are you kidding me?
yeah. I mean, if she had looked to the sky and like smiled or something like that, or even just said his name, or
Mm-hmm.
something. It would have been a lot better. It kind of remind my wife just brought this up. It kind of reminded me the end of Wakanda Forever. Like after
Mm,
Sherry goes through everything, then you find out, oh, T'Challa had a kid, and you're like, of course
yeah.
T'Challa had a kid. Like,
It's a surprise. You're not
yeah,
the heir to the Black Panther title or the
yeah,
royalty or anything anymore because
yeah,
now a child is here and he's going to take all of everything from you.
yeah.
Like,
Like that to me just like negated that entire movie where like this was just like really like you went with that trope, like you had to go with that trope.
it's so, it's so annoying. I'm so
And
upset with it.
and if that is my only complaint for this show, then that's my only complaint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, thank goodness that's like, that is really my only complaint.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
I
the
mean,
others, everything else was great. Like, that was just like, oh man.
they nailed that finale up until that last possible second. And
Hmm.
even then, I'll say they stuck the landing. I'll say they stuck the landing.
Yeah.
But
It was fine. It was just like,
yeah.
I'm just going to forget that part happened.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just
Yeah.
not going to, before that scene, I'll just cut it and be like, what a great show.
After you see
Wonder what happened to
B2
Bix.
Emo running
Yeah.
around, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep, just cut it off there. Hell, you could cut it off when Perrin's sitting next to the drunk lady
Yeah.
in his car on Coruscant. Like, you know, you could have cut it there. You could have
Yeah.
cut it there. Yeah,
Hmm.
no. Or when he takes off, you could have just cut it when Cassian takes off from Yavin because you know he's going to the Ring of Kafrine.
Yeah.
But,
But
I don't know.
otherwise, great show.
Yeah, yeah, it was an amazing
Otherwise,
show.
the history making,
Yeah.
incredible.
Um,
Hmm.
before we go, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time because you know
Hmm.
we're getting closest to the 2 hour mark. I do want to talk about the fandom thing
Yes.
because that is something that we talked about. I and Tony Gilroy actually brought this up because like people were talking about how Rogue One, or I mean Andor is like the best thing to ever come out of Star Wars. It's true Star Wars, all this other stuff. And then Tony Gilroy is like, but I love The Mandalorian. I love
Hmm.
Skeleton Crew. Those are all amazing Star Wars projects, and you people should be watching them. And then people are like, well, it doesn't belong in the same thing as Andor.
It's just, I don't know why. And this is like the tale is the oldest tale of like fandom really is that everyone has to find reasons to make themselves feel cooler than other fans or better than other fans. And it's like, and these are the same people who are like, I hate that fandom is mainstream now because I was bullied for it and I put in the time and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so you grew up to become a bully? Like, are
Yeah,
you proud of that? Like, are you proud of being an elitist? Are you proud of only caring about one thing? Like, it's ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
I'm tired.
Me too. Me too.
Mhm.
Um, because and then like it goes to the acolyte thing too. Like we've talked about this before. Like with the acolyte, love it or hate it, it happened.
Mhm.
And if people are discovering it and they're loving it, don't attack them for liking that show
Yeah.
or loving that show.
Let
Um,
people like things. Like, it's not like anyone's hurting you because they enjoy something.
like I love the acolyte because I'm a High Republic fan. Like
Mhm.
that's just me. However, I know a lot of people that didn't enjoy it. Did I go after them? No. I
No.
was like, you do you. What do you
Just,
enjoy in Star Wars?
yeah. Let people like things. It's a terrible symptom of certain fans to want to feel like they're better than other people.
Yep.
And because they have nothing else to offer the world, they have to just like rely on like, well, I like this Star Wars thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's very silly. And the best thing I think you can do as a fan is to ignore those people and give
Yep.
them no fuel, no flame,
Yep.
and instead lift up and celebrate people who like things
Mhm.
you don't. Like I had mentioned before, there are a lot of Ben Solo fans who I don't really agree with them, but you know
Mhm.
what? They're having fun.
Yeah.
And if my friend is a Ben Solo fan or a Raylo and I come across a really nice piece of Raylo art, I'm going to send it to them because I
Yeah.
know it'll make them happy. And
Yeah.
that's what I care about,
Oh yeah.
That's how it should be. We should be celebrating each other's fandom and
Mhm,
celebrating each other's artistic expression and the
mhm.
things that bring us joy. And just like, the world sucks as it is. Why make fandom suck
Thank
too?
you.
This is where we go to escape.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. Thank you. We've talked about this so many times on this show, and
Hmm.
I'm so happy that you're here to talk about this too.
Yeah.
It's escape. It's
Yeah.
I'm tired of the real world right now. I just want to watch space wizards battle each other for a while, or
Hmm.
thank you. Thank you. Or watch Young Jedi Adventures. I know a lot of people hate on that show. How can you hate on Young Jedi
It's
Adventures?
so cute. I love
Cute.
it.
How can
And
you
you,
hate on that
Nubs,
show?
you're not my friend.
Yeah. Like I get it. If you don't like Nubs, that's fine. How can you not? But once again, I'm not a big fan of Grogu. But
Yeah.
that's fine.
Hmm. Let it
It's
be.
fine. Just I'm like, yeah, you love Grogu. That's awesome. I'm glad that you love Grogu. It's not for
Hmm.
me.
Still fine. Still
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we were all over the place today.
Such is life. Such is Andor.
I should have taken notes. I apologize.
It's okay. I had a really good time today.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Um, my friends, please, please, please give Katrina a follow on socials at Katrina on everything.
Hmm.
Also follow SideQuest Cosmetics. Get your lip balm orders in. Yes, get your lip balm orders in. I mean, they're $5 and support an
Yeah.
amazing person. Seriously.
Oh, and get ready for our summer offerings. I'm very excited for what we're cooking up. We're doing the science on them now, and then I'm gonna send them to my science person who who tells me whether or not it's healthy. And then we will yes, we'll be putting out a really cool collection later this summer. So I'm really excited about it. So.
Nice. Oh, by the way, I just saw your threads post. Computer enhance.
Oh yeah, I posted that while we were talking because I was like, oh, I'm so excited, it's coming back. I am so hyped for Universal Fan Fest Nights
Yes.
returning. Like I'm glad that it did well enough that they're like, yeah, let's do this again. So
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, that is it for us this week. We will be back next week at our normal time. Katrina, thank you once again. And
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, we will talk to you all later. Goodbye.